This is AION Founders. Today's brief, AI as a radius expander.
Packy McCormick's thesis from Not Boring frames artificial intelligence not as a productivity tool, but as a geographic and social radius expander. People are operating effectively across, way more domains, distances, and contexts than they ever have before.
Right, and it's a vital narrative shift. If you are a Series A or B founder building venture-scale software right now, we are doing this deep dive because your current narrative might actually be entirely backwards.
Which is a huge claim to start with.
It is, but we are moving completely past the early era of treating software as just a faster calculator. If your pitch to investors is still anchored in that old framework, you are going to get left behind very quickly.
Well, I want to stop right there and ask the obvious question, because I hear this rhetoric a lot. What does radius expander actually mean for a founder building software today? How is that practically different from just saying, our tool gets things done faster?
The difference is the shift from cost reduction to capability expansion. Cost reduction simply means automating existing tasks to save money or time. Capability expansion means compounding human agency so a single person can execute entirely new functions.
Functions that they physically or intellectually could not do before.
Precisely. You aren't just cutting the time it takes to do the old job. You are giving the user a dramatically larger operational territory. This directly ties into the convergence thesis, which is the idea that different tech trends like AI, biotech, and finance are blending together to multiply what one single person can achieve.
Okay, so like an independent researcher trying to model a protein fold.
Right. A few years ago, that researcher might spend months on one protein fold, and then they'd have to partner with a massive pharmaceutical company just to fund a trial. Now with convergence, they use an AI model to simulate thousands of structures in an afternoon.
Right. But if they stop there, let's be honest, that is still just productivity. They did the old task faster.
Yeah. But they don't stop there. Because the tools now span multiple domains, that same researcher can prompt a specialized financial AI to instantly structure a microtrial funding model, match it with decentralized investor pools, and draft the compliance docs.
Oh, wow. So they just crossed from pure biology into venture finance and legal in a single afternoon.
They executed the functions of an entire corporate department.
Okay, let me try to picture this with a physical analogy, because the jump from a lone researcher to an entire pharmaceutical department is pretty massive. Let's say I own a local pizza restaurant.
Okay, I'm with you.
If I only have delivery bicycles, my geographic radius is strictly capped at about 2 miles. I can only serve the customers physically inside that circle.
And no matter how fast your bicycle riders pedal, the distance ultimately limits your business.
Right. Now, imagine I equip that exact same restaurant with a fleet of cars. My radius instantly becomes 10 miles. The trap here would be thinking that giving my drivers cars just means they deliver the exact same pizzas to the exact same 2-mile radius, just 3 minutes faster.
Which would merely be productivity. You just save 3 minutes.
But the reality of having the cars is that I can reach entirely new neighborhoods.
And you serve completely different demographics. You probably have to overhaul your entire business model, change the menu, and hire different staff just to handle the demand from those new territories. For an AI founder, your software gives your users the fleet of cars. You cannot sell them a slightly faster bicycle.
I am with you on the theory, but let me steelman the strongest argument against this. Isn't this just a semantic trick? If I use AI to write code faster or clean up a messy database, that is just productivity. It's just speed. How do you answer a skeptic who says you're just dressing up efficiency and fancy vocabulary?
I will completely concede that for isolated, simple tasks, it is indeed just speed. Writing an email faster is just speed. But I hold the line on the thesis because the radius truly expands when that speed grants access to entirely new domains. Look at Amazon recently integrating custom merchandise design into Alexa's shopping chat.
Wait, explain that mechanism. How does a shopping assistant expand a radius?
Previously, a customer would tell Alexa to buy a specific pre-existing t-shirt. Finding that shirt slightly faster is productivity. But Amazon changed the framework. Now, a customer can describe a completely original concept that AI generates the design, applies it to a blank garment, and queues it up in the physical supply chain to be manufactured.
So the customer goes from browsing a catalog to actually creating a physical product.
Yes. They go from browsing to instantly co-designing products via chat in a single session. The technology is collapsing the distance between intent and commerce. You aren't just a shopper anymore. This breaks if the AI is only used to do the exact same historical tasks slightly cheaper, rather than giving the user access to new domains.
Which brings us directly to the practical application. If I'm a Series A or B software founder listening right now and I have a board meeting on Monday, my narrative has to shift. Let's give them 3 specific moves. Move number 1 has to be updating the fundraise frame.
It has to change immediately. You must shift the pitch to your LPs and VCs from "we automate X" to "we expand the user's radius to do Y." If your pitch is built around how many hours of labor you save an enterprise client, you are pitching a race to the bottom.
Someone else will just build a cheaper tool to save those same hours.
Exactly. Which brings us to move number 2, reprice your moat. We are currently watching hyperscalers, massive cloud providers like Amazon and Google, vertically integrate their physical supply chains. Amazon just announced a massive supply agreement with Corning to expand U.S. fiber optics manufacturing. That deal is creating 1,000 physical jobs in North Carolina.
Which is like dropping a massive corporate headquarters into a single county. It's heavy physical infrastructure.
And why does a software founder need to care about fiber optics in North Carolina? Because if the hyperscalers are consolidating the physical infrastructure, the glass, the cables, the compute, your software moat cannot just be speed. Speed becomes a commodity. Your moat must be the net new capabilities you grant.
And that naturally leads to move number 3. Change the distribution narrative. If your moat is capability, stop selling time saved to your first 10 customers. You need to sit down with them and sell the new markets and demographics they can now reach.
Think back to your restaurant metaphor. You don't walk into that restaurant and try to sell the owner a car by explaining how much idle time the driver will save. You sell the car by showing the owner a map of the lucrative neighborhood 5 miles away that they currently cannot reach.
So to synthesize all of this, give you the core takeaway.
If you remember nothing else, here's the whole thing in 3 sentences. Packy McCormick reframed AI from a productivity tool to a radius expander. It matters because it shifts your entire venture pitch from cost reduction to capability expansion. Think of it like giving a local restaurant a fleet of delivery cars. You aren't just making the same pizzas faster, you're conquering new neighborhoods.
Here's what this can't tell you yet. How much it will cost to sustain that expanded radius, especially as hyperscalers lock up the physical infrastructure, like that $30 billion SpaceX Google compute deal, which for context is roughly the GDP of Iceland.
The real thing we're watching is whether this capability expansion holds when sovereign tech risks and infrastructure costs start squeezing margins.
That's your AION Founders Briefing. Stay informed every weekday. Subscribe now and download the AION app at aionpowerhouse.com.